Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Headbangers Closet. Hope everyone's doing well today. This video is going to be kind of a collection update for Headbangers Closet, but it's going to be merch, concert merch, no real records. Well, there's one record, but not many records today. So we'll get right into it. I went to a couple of shows within the last month or so. I just want to show you guys what I got at the show and talk a little bit about these shows because I had a great time. And if any of you guys went to these shows, definitely leave a comment below. And if any of these bands come to you in the future, definitely go and see them because both of the shows were absolutely amazing. So the first one was the Death Angel, Violence and Insight. It was Death Angel's tour. They were doing Act 3 in its entirety, which I was really looking forward to checking out. And I was also looking forward to seeing Violence for the second time. I saw them over the winter. Violence came around with they came with Nunslaughter and Deceased. It was a real small southern tour. They hit like Charleston, South Carolina, Atlanta, and they hit like 2 or 3 small cities around the northern East Coast and panhandle of Florida, and that was pretty much it. So I saw them there. They played at a bar in Atlanta. I thought the show was great. I had a good time, but the sound wasn't awesome. So I was looking forward to seeing Violence in like a proper venue with good sound. So anyway, so I went to the show with my buddy Terry, and we met up with another buddy Mark there. And it turns out Mark was good friends with Richie, who's the lead singer of Insight, which is, I didn't know until then, he's Max Cavalera from Sepultura's kid. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Mark introduced me to Richie and the rest of the guys in the band, and we kind of talked to those guys before the show and then between bands. So that was cool. Just kind of shoot the shit about what the tour's been like and life on the road and stuff like that. Just having a good conversation, a couple beers. But they played really well. They're like just a straight up in your face heavy metal band. They're not thrash, not death, but there's kind of a good mix of everything. And Richie, surprisingly enough, just did vocals. I kind of figured like Max Cavalera's kid would play guitar, but no, just vocals. And I really liked them. I didn't pick up a record because I really didn't want to haul everything around the whole show. And by the time the show was over, they were packing up all their stuff and putting it in their van. I got to talk to them and say goodbye, but I didn't get to buy an album. But I did pick up a t-shirt between their set and Violent set. This was their t-shirt right here. I think that's really cool. Skull in the Graveyard. And then on the back, no gimmicks, no triggers, no backing tracks, just metal. And that's kind of what their motto was. Richie mentioned it, on stage between the songs. They had a couple of shirts and patches that said that. Like I said, that's kind of what their motto is. Just nothing special, just in your face, old school sounding heavy metal. So they put on a really good show. I enjoyed it. The next one come on was Violence. I did not buy a t-shirt because I already have the Violence t-shirt. So I didn't want to get a long sleeve because I don't wear long sleeve t-shirts very much. But they sounded amazing. Had a blast. When they were done, I got to meet the lead vocalist from the band. And at the end of the night, my good buddy Terry had to use the restroom. So I went outside and was waiting. And the guitar player for Violence was just sitting there chilling out. People were talking to him. And we must have had a 30 to 40 minute conversation. About 4 or 5, maybe 6 of us out there talking about Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and how great those bands were. And then my buddy came out. We ended up leaving, but that was kind of cool. So great show. They put on a phenomenal show, of course, with a proper sound system. They sounded great, and I would like to see them again on their own headlining tour. But they sounded amazing, and the 2 guys I met were really cool dudes. And that brings me to Death Angel. They came on, played a phenomenal set. I was on the left-hand side of the stage. Probably one person, I know one person was in front of me on the rails, April, a good friend of mine, April, really cool girl from Atlanta, huge Metallica fan. Awesome seeing her at the show. Really cool person. Always like chatting with her on social media, and glad I got to actually see her at a show for a change that wasn't Metallica and just kind of talk to her for a little bit. But she was in front of me. I got tons of awesome photos and picked up a couple of shirts. This is the Act 3 shirt. And then it's got all the dates on the back. You guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while and you've seen me kind of do my merch hauls from shows, I'm a big stickler for the shirts with the dates on the back. And then I got this one, which I thought was really cool. It's just the Room with a View shirt. Awesome front cover. I saw some people wearing it, and I saw it hanging up on their display. I was like, just all black and white. I thought that was really, really cool. Just loved the all black and white look. And on the back, the lyrics to A Room with a View. Really cool shirt. You know, kind of something different. You don't see shirts too often with lyrics on them. And like I said, love that all black and white. And then when the show was over, as I was leaving, I ended up picking this up. This is the autographed by all the guys of Death Angel, the Act 3, all the dates of the tour. This is basically their promo poster. So really, really cool. Awesome. Glad to pick this up. It was like $25, so I was able to pick this up. Really, really glad I did. You guys know they don't do ticket stubs anymore. So bringing home like a show keepsake, I try to like print out the tour posters or just the actual show poster. But I thought this was, a lot better. I mean, hell, it's signed by all 5 guys in the band, and they sounded awesome. They basically played, they did play in Act 3 in its entirety, and then they played a handful of other tunes, and they closed with Thrown to the Wolves, which is one of my favorite Death Angel tunes. So I think they played 5 songs after finishing Act 3 in its entirety, and everything sounded amazing. Human Side, like I said, Thrown to the Wolves, The Moth they played. Just really, really good set. It's over now, but I highly recommend everybody checking out Death Angel and Violence and Incite if they come to your town. Death Angel's got some new music. They did play one of the new tracks that they've got. I think they got 2 new tracks. Cult of the Used was the tune they played. So I'm guessing new music. They'll be out on tour again in America, probably maybe fall or into next year. I know they're going to Europe over the summer, if I'm not mistaken. But awesome show. Really had a good time. The band sounded great. They all looked like they were having a blast, especially Death Angel. Mark was jumping around the whole night. And it was a small venue. I've seen video clips from the tour, and they're playing in a little bit bigger places, more crowded places. The venue they played in Atlanta was the Masquerade. Heaven, Hell, Purgatory, the different size, rooms to the Masquerade. And they played at Hell, which is one of the smaller ones. And they didn't even open up the top balcony, so I imagine there's probably just a few hundred people there, which was a little disappointed in the turnout. But I mean, the crowd was awesome; they were into it, and so was the band. It's just kind of disappointing that we couldn't get a big enough crowd like some of the other cities on the tour. So the next show I went to was about a week later. It was Haunt, and one of my favorite venues in town, called Boggs. Basically just a bar, but it's just a super cool bar. Cheap PBR, like 16-ounce beers. It's just a fun place to go. It's got its own parking, so you can come in and out of the venue as you please. You don't have to re-show your ticket or nothing. Just come in and out, so you can buy merch, bring it to your car, and whatnot, and which I did. Seen Haunt a few times before. Awesome band. Trevor, I've talked about him on my channel. He's a one-man band. He writes all the songs, records all the songs, and then basically gets other guys to tour with him. Well, he's got a permanent bass player now named Sammy. Super cool dude. He's always manning the merch booth. I talked to him for a while, and I basically do every time I go see him. Trevor just kind of walks around, but he came over and kind of gave me a hug when I was at the bar drinking before any of the bands really got going. So that was kind of cool. He remembered who I was. They played a couple of tunes on a sound check, so it was like I got to see the show twice, or like at least play twice, so that was cool. Then the band Show and Tell, just a cool traditional heavy metal band from Arizona, really good stuff. They warmed up with Cinderella's Somebody Save Me, so I thought that was pretty cool, hearing Cinderella at the sound check. I was the only dude, I yelled it out. I think I was the only dude who knew what it was. They sounded great, just traditional, old school, 80s style heavy metal, really cool dudes. I didn't pick up any of their merch. I probably will next time I see them, but then Haunt came on, and I was right in front, just awesome set. Short set, they played maybe like 8 to 10 songs, something like that, about a 30 to 40 minute set, but had a blast. Always have a blast seeing those guys. I mean, they just, they're not going to fill out a huge club. They play in small bars, maybe like 50 to 100 people each time they're playing. Some of the shows I've seen on video wasn't even that many people there, but just, they are amazing. I can't say enough about Haunt. Such a cool band. And then the other guitar player and the drummer that he gets to do the tour with him, they're dudes from the band called Saber. But definitely check Haunt out. Their tour's almost over. They're like in the Midwest now. I think they're playing Cleveland tonight. And then, they're in that area of the country. So if you're in that area of the country, check them out. Dude, it's a cheap ticket, and the show is awesome. I was able to pick up these shirts right here. One of the older albums. Shirt burst into flame here, as I didn't have this one, so I was really excited to see this. So cool. And then the tour shirt. The tour was called Back to the Beach. They played a lot of places by the water on the East Coast and in Florida. So this is white Back to the Beach kind of deal with all the dates on the back. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of dates. Let's see. So yeah, today they're in Cleveland. Tomorrow they're in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I don't know how to say that. June 26th they're in Indianapolis. The 27th, Rock Island, Illinois. The 28th of June, Wichita, Kansas. So if you're in any of those cities, definitely check these guys out. Such a fun show. Awesome, old school sounding heavy metal. Just a good time, and super cool dudes. The kind of dudes you really want to support. And then the last thing I want to show, certainly not least, Sammy's always the guy manning the merch booth. And he did this the last time they came to town. They were touring off the Dreamers album. And I already had the album, but they had a picture disc. I picked that up, and he had all the guys sign it for me. And I got my picture with each of the guys in the band. This time was no different. Got my pictures with every guys in the band. And then when I bought the album, I already had Ignite, the latest record. But when I picked this copy up, he had all the guys sign it for me. So just gave it to me for 25 bucks. And then they all signed it. So that ain't bad, getting a signed album for 25 bucks. So really cool. Awesome guys. You know, like I said just a minute ago, definitely the kind of band and the kind of people you love to support because they're just super cool and they're super appreciative of everybody showing up. So there you guys have it. That's my merch report and show report for a couple of really cool shows. If you guys go to any of these shows, definitely leave me a comment below. You know, you guys listen to Haunt. I've been talking about him forever. I know some other people in the VC have been talking about him as well. So have you checked those guys out? Let me know. And like I said, appreciate all you guys checking out the channel. And I'll have another video for you guys very soon. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy your week.